everyone. Firstly, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the first bit of video content here on SimRacing Unlimited. My name's Alex, and I'm joined by my good buddy, one of the editorial team, Yannik. Yannik, firstly, did you have a good respite over Christmas and New Year?
Hey Alex, and Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you. I did put up the old feet on the well, not on the couch table, but on the couch. Hope the same holds true for you after a very active pre-Christmas season, if you could say so.
Yeah, especially with the expo, which
Exactly.
there was a lot of traffic, not just at the expo but also online, and a great effort by Corvana GmbH to put on this event. There are plans which hopefully will be revealed in very, very due course, such as location, dates, and all the other bits and pieces. There's been a bit of a buzz about that, but there has been an even bigger buzz because January 1st, 2023, New Year's Day, Yannick, I think we've seen the biggest shift ever in drivers leaving teams to go elsewhere. A lot of them haven't yet confirmed, but some of the top players, such as Max Benecke, Patrick Holtzman, both from Team Redline, have left. Tommy Ørsgaard has left Porsche Coanda. In recent times, we've had Charlie Crossland also left G2 Esports, no longer BMW G2 Esports, because in December there was some news about the fact that BMW is stepping back in terms of its esports involvement and support of teams. And then quite recently this week, David Tonitza and Mr. Donoso left Ferrari Esports, which are two big names from Maranello. Firstly,
Mhm.
we haven't seen a shift like this in quite a long time, have we, in terms of the silly season with regards to sim racing drivers?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's usual that these contracts are on a year-to-year basis, so it's not unheard of that esports drivers switch teams at the turn of the new year. But the amount of drivers this time around is just yeah, stunning, really. Of course, I was still on vacation when that happened, but I noticed that, of course, and I barely believed my eyes, really, because it's such a long list and such high-profile teams as well. So I think the term "silly season" applies very, very well here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, another thing from the real world of motorsports finds its way into sim racing, you could say.
Well, exactly. It's a bit like the Formula One silly season that went all the way through since Sebastian Vettel decided to retire after four world titles over 50 victories. And then it all then started kicking off. Nick de Vries went to AlphaTauri. Um, Logan Sargent got promoted from F2 to the Williams full team. Pierre Gasly making it an all French lineup at Alpine. The list goes
Hmm.
on and on. But we have to credit Traction.gg for this one because they were the first ones that have done a bit more in depth in terms of the fact that ESL and Rennsport
Hmm.
apparently have partnered up. And I have to say a big shout out to Thomas Harrison Lord for this because we're actually going to use some of the information that they have been able to provide in the bigger scale of things. So this just goes to show how important it is for sim racing in general that there are a lot of drivers that were actually invited to the Rennsport Summit in May 2022.
Hmm.
And when you see the likes of Benecke and Holtzman, who have been with Redline for years, and it that a lot of these drivers, I mean, Benecke and Ørsgaard were due to compete at the finale for the Le Mans Virtual Series, the 24 Hours of Le Mans Virtual.
Hmm.
Those drivers are no longer competing with the respective teams following their decision to move away. And apparently, we have to give a good shout out to Actual Vision on this as well, because
Hmm.
at 2:11 p.m. UK time on January 1st, he said will be the year that sim racing becomes a major player in esports. By that, I mean the likes of Phase, Optic, Luminosity, and Complexity, to name a few, will be entering teams. That is my prediction for 2023. Watch this space.
Hmm.
So, from my perspective, we know Luke very, very well. Of course, he was one of the hosts at the ADAC Sim Racing Expo in Nuremberg last December. He's got his finger on the pulse, and so quite a few other people as well. Because I've noticed that ESL Racing's Twitter account has not been active since the mid part of 2019 at
Hmm.
ESL Racing. So they've kept very, very dormant over the last 2.5 years. What are your thoughts on what we could potentially see in terms of new players that are already big esports players coming into sim racing? That could really explode things, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. You mentioned the ESL partnership with Rennsport, which was apparently a core factor in the development of this new upcoming sim. Also been kept very quiet until I think about a year ago, a little less, I believe, that it was actually in development and in partnership with the ESL.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely offers a different sort of stage for sim racing. Because I don't think it's been regarded as a classical esport, well, genre, can't say title in this case, in the past, because it's so different from the other titles, really, because you're either on a controller or on a mouse and keyboard. That's probably the biggest difference there is, because you need a ton more hardware and everything, and it's how can I say this, less gamey, if you will, because it's an actual simulation, without trying to do a disservice to all the other disciplines, because those require focus and practice and fast reactions and everything. So it's bit of a different thing, but I still think that this is a very good sort of basis to get that out to a broader audience who might be interested in esports already, but not really into sim racing yet.
Yeah, I mean, both you and I, over the last couple of years, we've seen the way that sim racing has evolved to the stage where it's at, where you've got major competitions set up by organisations such as Corvana running the ADAC Sim Racing Expo. You know, we had the Community
Mm.
Trophy, we had the ADAC Digital GT 500, which was the last time Max Benecke was actually in, I think, competition, apart from probably VCO Pro Sim Infinity, because that was the week after the.
True, yeah.
So that was the only time I'd ever seen Max Benecke in person and wearing his Redline gear. You know, I think, but also there's been a bit of stability with the fact that we've had some confirmed moves already. Um, Last year, after the Le Mans Virtual Series race at Sebring, Yoni Simicic re-signed for Burst Esport on a multi-year deal. Michi Hoyer has just re-signed, and he's been with that
Mm-hmm.
team for, I think this is going to be his fourth or fifth season. So the German, a regularly well-known driver within the R Factor 2 side of things, such as Formula Sim Racing, Le Mans Virtual. But then we had two big moves. GTWR lost Niklas Huben, and where did he
Mm-hmm.
end up a year later? Unicorns of Love. But then we also heard that Dennis Schoeninger left Unicorns of Love, went to Williams Esports. And then we've had two other members of Team Redline move. Alex Tiber moving from Redline to Urano Esports, a former haunt of the likes of Daniel Pastor, Louis Naza, who won the 2021 ADAC Digital GT 500.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Danbeats now moves from Redline to Fire Sim Sport. And then following the void that was left by Tommy Erskard at Porsche Carrera Esports, their new works driver is Australia's Dane Warren, who now has an opportunity to prove himself with quite a few of the other drivers. But then we had, I think, probably one of the biggest announcements, and it came from Williams Esports, where 9 drivers have now left the team, and I'm going to list them as they are on the screen at the moment, folks, with the actual graphic from Williams. So Andre Bercha, Alessio De Capua, Alex Arana, Dino Lombardi, Dominic Steib, Giorgio Mangano, Michael Romanidis, Tarek Gamil, and Valerio Gallo. The latter a former Gran Turismo world champion. And that just goes to show that a lot of teams are trying to reset now for 2023, aren't they, Yannick?
Looks like it, yeah. I don't see why you would switch out, that many drivers before you get into things properly for the new year. Um, I would hope so that they have a plan in place already to have an updated roster, so to speak.
Yeah.
Especially Williams. Losing 9 drivers is certainly something. So those probably all need to be replaced. That's not going to be easy, but I'm pretty sure as one of the top players in sim racing esports, they have some sort of plan up their sleeves for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, especially when you look at the likes of Charlie Crossland, an ACC specialist, he's competed against the likes of Tinko van der Velde, Dennis Schoeninger, um, Dara McCormack, and Igor Rodriguez,
Mm.
and if he lands there, if Charlie Crossland lands there, they've got another great young talent for ACC. Um, but I think to get someone like Dennis Schoeninger, that's going to add another German to the ranks. I mean, I've
Mm.
got to know Louis Naza, finally got to meet him at the Sim Racing Expo. And I still remember speaking to him during the paddock walk for the professional trophy. Well, before the paddock walk for the professional trophy, I said, why are you not in your Williams gear? He went, just so commentators like you can't sneak up on me. I said, I'm making a beeline for you on that one. But I think also they do say that a change is as good as a rest, and it could be a good reset for what's to come in 2023. Because the ERWC is going to have some of the players like say Beneke and Oscar probably not competing in that series because of their previous affiliations. And that could give people an opportunity. I mean, we've seen Apex Racing Team do a fantastic job this year. They've had people promoted like Gael Valero from France has been promoted to the senior team from the academy crew earlier on in 2022. It could give us a nice way to see off the season with a bang, wouldn't you say?
I guess so. Yeah, it's a bit unheard of compared to real life racing, of course. To have this many lineup changes right
Mm-hmm.
before the final of a big series. Let's face it, it's one of the biggest, really. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Then again, you have
Mm-hmm.
the teams winning or being scored. So if it was a single driver series, I don't think that the teams would be in it rather than the drivers. You know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's hopefully well, just a matter of replacing talent and still running up front for most teams according to their plans, of course. So should be interesting to see how that maybe shakes things up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's it from us here at Sim Racing Unlimited. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You can also head to our official website. There'll be more exciting new content to come from us here at Sim Racing Unlimited in 2023. So a big thank you, Yannick, once again for joining me, mate. We're going to be a bit more front and center here on Sim Racing Unlimited as part of our new content strategy, which we're gonna bring something a little bit different to the table, but we'll announce that in due course. Yannick, thanks once again, buddy, and hopefully we'll get to catch up soon to talk more about sim racing developments in the not too distant future.
I hope so. Thank you too, Alex, and see you very soon, hopefully. Take
Thanks
care.
for watching. Yep, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Sim Racing Unlimited. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, there's plenty more of those panels still to come from the 2022 ADAC Sim Racing Expo. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you very soon.